So, Star Wars in 2025. Just want to see what it'd be like to watch all Star Wars in 2025, so here we go. Consider yourselves my diary. I will also be separating each era of Star Wars into separate videos. I will even label them so it's easier for us to remember. We have the New Republic saga, which is what I'll be going through in this video, which includes the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, the Clone Wars series. Then we will conclude with Revenge of the Sith. For the other sagas, I have labeled them as the Empire/Rebellion saga, the Mandalorian saga, and then to end everything all together, we have the First Order saga / the Resistance saga. So I am showing Star Wars to my girlfriend for the first time, and she knows absolutely nothing. As for me, I'm missing quite a few shows. Also, I'm so sorry for the long intro, but here we go. Let's get right into it because I know this is going to be a really long video. Alright, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. Opening crawl. One of many opening crawls. I'm excited. I'm actually excited to watch all of this. Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn is extremely underrated. I'm kind of sad they only use him like once in the entire series, but I get why. I'll talk about that later. Jedi speeding is never used again as well. They never speed up like that ever again. We have Jar Jar Binks. There's a lot of good things about this movie, but I feel like starting with this movie is the worst for any newcomers. I don't know. I just feel like it's a little gatekeepy. There are some really slow scenes that, like, if you're not familiar with the memes, it does not mean anything to you. This is a whole lot of nothing straight to your face, because this is still let's just say the only saving grace this movie has is the pod racing scene and the final battle, the Duel of the Fates scene. But I'm looking at it in a nostalgic view, and I gotta say, fucking love this movie. Gotta say, this movie's great. This movie's awesome. With all the memes considered, it definitely enhances the movies. Like, I rewatched this movie in theaters once it re-released, and it was just beautiful. It was beautiful to watch the pod racing scene in the big screen and the Duel of the Fates scene, which DJ, my best friend of mine, left. He left during that. Of course, it's because of an obligation, but I will say the atmosphere for Star Wars has always remained consistent. Most of the establishing shots in this movie, absolutely stunning. Like Naboo, we got Tatooine, some good shots of Coruscant. Yeah, it's old, it's all like CGI, but it still looks really beautiful. Nothing can change that. I have like a really hot take. I feel like I think Attack of the Clones has better cinematography than the Phantom Menace, but we'll talk about that later. So Jar Jar Binks is still the worst. I still don't like the guy, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, the actor went through some shit and it was sad. You know, the fan base of Star Wars is never known to be the friendliest. But the character Jar Jar Binks, I can't even like humor the character. I can't even be like, haha, funny Jar Jar Binks. I just don't like him. He just isn't a fun character to have around. Yeah, I get it. It's like funny kids movie character, the comic relief. I don't think I laughed a single time. I rolled my eyes. That's all I have to say about Jar Jar Binks. He's in this movie way more than he should be, and I'm glad. I think he was supposed to be like a bigger character during the prequel trilogy, but I don't know. I know he was in the show, and I will skip every episode with him. I promise you that. He really brings this movie down a little bit, just a little bit.
Dang, you hate him that much?
Yeah. The CGI aged a little bit, but it's so unique to the point where I can't even complain. It looks cool, so I can't even hate on the fact that the CGI is a little dated. And we got the iconic duel R2-D2 and C-3PO. So we got like a little tease of them, I feel like, in this movie. Like they meet each other for the first time. Like next movies where they really shine. And then we have Darth Maul. Holy shit, Darth Maul. I love Darth Maul. He is, I mean, okay. He is kind of bland in this movie. He has no personality whatsoever, but his final fight's really fucking cool. His final fight is awesome, alright? His final fight made him just so memorable to the point where it's just, he became a bigger character than he was supposed to be. Like, this guy was supposed to just die in this movie. And him killing Qui-Gon Jinn definitely cemented him as a big character. Okay, sidetracking. Hold on. I gotta talk about this. I really, really hate when characters just don't die. When they like, quote-unquote fake out die, that just pisses me off so much. But Darth Maul's the only character ever in all Star Wars, and I'm glad it just came back to life. I genuinely love Darth Maul. He became like the top 3 villains in all Star Wars. I'll talk about that later, but Darth Maul is just, I can't say anything. All right, I'm saving.
I prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble. In big trouble, and I don't want to be in big trouble.
Just like the movies, I'm watching it in chronological order, so this video will also be in chronological order. But spoiler alert, he lives. I think we all know that. Unless you haven't seen Star Wars, then I don't think you will, probably. Darth Maul is alive, which you only knew from me mentioning him like 2 seconds. And of course, you can't miss out on the biggest, baddest character of them all. Watto? Okay. Anakin. Of course, Anakin Skywalker. They introduced Anakin Skywalker in this movie. He's a little child.
Are you an angel? What?
I heard the actor for child Anakin went through quite the rough patch. I'm not even gonna make a video about that, but yeah, search that up. He went through some shit. I think he's doing better nowadays. I think he's doing a lot better. But yeah, Anakin Skywalker in this movie, definitely. Are you an angel? Yippee! He's a kid. He's a child.
Yippee!
I can't even make fun of it. It's just you don't really expect fucking Darth Vader to start off this just small. I feel like this almost ruined Vader's character. Like not to be mean about it, but like it just made him just way less scary. Like it humanized him way too much. But it also has its pros, honestly. Showing him as a little child, it made Vader into a more tragic character than he is like a badass, cool horror character. So there's that. I do love. I think Anakin Skywalker is my second favorite character in all of Star Wars, next to Luke Skywalker. So I am glad they made the prequels and made him into the character he is now. You know, Anakin. And Anakin in the Clone Wars. I love him. Okay, anyway. Anakin, he's a little guy. He sprouts out, he says a line that sticks with me. Now this is pod racing. Like just out of nowhere, he just talks about pod racing while fighting galactic space droids.
Now this is pod racing.
We finally get to visit Tatooine as well, which is the first of a million times we get to see Tatooine, so that's not gonna get old. I get it, it's the place where Anakin and Luke were born, so I see why it has such a huge significance, but man, and the dialogue definitely feels more Shakespearean. It feels like George Lucas just read a bunch of fucking Shakespeare novels and put it all together. I think a lot of people hate on the dialogue. I think the dialogue's fine. It's very old school, very classic, very Shakespearean. I think it's fun. It gives Star Wars its own like flavor. I think in most Star Wars media now, they don't even use that dialogue. I can't say I prefer the Shakespeare dialogue, but I think it's unique. The pod racing scenes saved this movie. I forgot how long the pod racing goes on for. And I locked in. And, you know, I thought this movie wouldn't have any emotional moments, really. But Anakin leaving his mom was pretty sad. It definitely hit the feels a little bit. And then after the whole pod racing arc, and we go back to the politics. That my least favorite scene in the whole movie. my least favorite arc in the whole movie, where they just talk. I mean, yeah, it builds up lore, and there's a lot of stuff that goes around it. But is there like a more fun, interesting way to put it? What it builds up towards, definitely like it's definitely more rewarding. Like watching it all fall apart eventually is a lot more rewarding as you watch all these slow moving pieces of Star Wars. Like you can tell there is a plan of watching these movies.
Execute Order 66.
I like how all the Jedi in the Council are actual characters in like the TV shows or games. I mean, it's easy. It's easy to be like, oh, that character was there in the first movie, and now they're an actual character in my favorite TV show. Midichlorians. Okay, lore is cool. I actually don't mind the concept of midichlorians. I think it's awesome. The exposition scene was kind of weird. It's like he's telling this 10-year-old kid about fucking the powerhouse of the cell. I like that it isn't just the Force, you know. There's some explanation to it. I don't think it needs an explanation, but I think it's cool that there is one. Like, I'm not complaining the fact that midichlorians exist. I think Star Wars now definitely strays away from that whole midichlorian concept, especially the amount of flack they got from it. And then we reached the final battle. It was perfect. Perfect. I mean, there's a lot going on. There's like 4 different battles going on at the same time. The way he just comes in, the Duel of the Fates starts playing. I don't think anything's ever topped that whole fight. Besides Battle of the Heroes. I think episode 3 definitely topped it. And my personal favorite Star Wars movie, which I will not say until the very end. Next video, probably. Rip Qui-Gon Jinn. I do think him dying really sets the tone of the entire universe. That characters can die. So this is really important, so let's hope they keep it this way. I rate this movie a nice 7 out of 10 because it really is a fun movie. And there are some slow political moments, but I get it. It's setting up a lot of lore. I consider this movie the prologue to everything, to which it is. This is before the Clone Wars, but I am very excited to move on to the other projects in order. Because watching in order just seems so interesting to me. Like, you get to see everything unfold in real time. I've never watched it all in order like that, so I'm intrigued. Also, sorry if I'm like rushing through the reviews of the movies. There is a lot, and I want to talk about every single one of them. I also want to talk about individual arcs in the show as well. I'm just trying to put it all together in one big video. See what I can do. So this is a very messy video. Anyway, Star Wars: Attack of the Clones.
Droid, Master.
The master or the apprentice? Which one was destroyed?
Your mom.
Okay, we're done. Alright, one thing I did forget to mention was the music. Star Wars would just be like another sci-fi thing without John Williams tracks. Oh, my chair. I'm so sorry for my chair. I'm sorry for my voice as well. My voice is actually dying mid-recording. I don't know if you hear it. My voice is actually going away. This is not what I usually sound like. But yeah, John Williams tracks definitely make Star Wars what it is. I'm sure everyone knows the there are like a million of those soundtracks that make Star Wars that he made. It certainly gives a lot more spice to Star Wars, I feel like. Like imagine Dune music with a Star Wars track to it, you know? I don't know, with the style Dune has currently, probably not. Yeah, probably not, but it would be cool. It'd be cool to imagine like a John Williams track to Dune. Anyways, Star Wars: Attack of the Clones, which I consider the true start of Star Wars. Despite me absolutely hating this movie at first when I first watched it. Actually, no, I really liked this movie as a kid. As a kid, this movie was fucking beautiful. It was amazing. As a kid, this was like my Bible, the Star Wars movies, even the prequels. And then as a teenager, because I took people on the internet's opinions too seriously, I didn't like this movie. I was like, oh, it's shit. It's terrible. I mean, it's not, it's not great. It's not awesome. It's not like the best thing out there. But I do find it really fun. It's a really fun movie. It's definitely better paced than the Phantom Menace, I find. And Anakin and Obi-Wan are just characters that just stand out, and Padme as well. Padme definitely. I forgot how much screen time Padme has in this movie. She definitely has her own spice to her. My least favorite part of the movie, which is so ridiculous and terrible that it became my favorite part of the movie, was Anakin and Padme. Just George Lucas has a family, right? I don't know what the fuck happened there. I just think he does not know how to write a love story. I mean, the soundtrack made it seem very lovey. I will say the soundtrack made it as beautiful as it can be, but it was really creepy. I searched up on the internet that Padme and Anakin have a 5-year age gap, and so do Obi-Wan and Anakin. So all of this isn't as weird if my research was true, which is the top search of Google. I will say Anakin is definitely a little weirdo in this movie. Don't look at me like that. You're making me it's making me uncomfortable. That scene was brutal. And then you have Jar Jar Binks, who's back for a bit. He's just kind of there this time as a senator, which why? It's Star Wars. I don't care. Kamino is such a beautiful planet. It's more refreshing to look at than Tatooine. I don't like sand. Like we have Obi-Wan going through absolute hell as while Anakin just flirts with this queen. Obi-Wan's tracking down his bounty hunter and looking at this Jedi conspiracy as Anakin's trying to get laid in the side quest. Oh, then he spirals as he gets like a really bad dream and sees his mother, and his mother dies. But we get to see Aunt and Uncle Owen, Uncle Lars. I thought they appeared in the third movie at first, but it's nice seeing them appear even earlier and establishing a thing that Lars is Anakin's stepbro. But there are a lot of small details that I like in this movie, like the whole clones with the Federalists, the clones with the battle droid theme song playing over it. Anakin having little cues of the Imperial March theme as he's slaughtering not just the men but the women and the children too. But then the Kamino arc gets cut short with the little mini boss fight between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Jango Fett, which was really fun. I love that scene. The visuals are nice too. Which, the visuals in this movie are surprisingly a lot better than the first movie. I hate to say it, I hate to be the one to say it, the visuals are a lot more stunning. Which, yeah, it's a newer movie, it's more advanced technologically, oh my, I'm gonna kill him. I just like Jango as a character, and Boba Fett, although Boba Fett's a little fucking menace in this movie. Fire, kill him! It's like, damn. This is a child, to be fair, a child trained to kill people and trained to be a bounty hunter, but like, damn, okay. And then we move on to the Geonosis arc. Before we head on there, though, the seismic charges are ear candy to me, and eye candy to me. Like, everything about the seismic charges, just listen to it. Oh, it made this movie go up a point. But yeah, then we have, like I said, Anakin crashing out on the Tusken Raiders after finding his mom dying. Pretty sad scene. We have to add on to his journey to become Darth Vader. I just feel like Anakin isn't as much of a sympathetic character in this movie because they just kind of throw him right into the I'm angry all the time type of attitude. Like, he isn't that much of a likable character in this movie. He's more reckless Which I get is the point, but that's such a cop-out. He just isn't a likable character in this movie. He's a fucking weirdo with women, first of all. Well, the one woman he's ever talked to in his life. I just don't like, I feel like the Clone Wars TV show definitely made him into a more likable character and gaslighted everyone into thinking, wow, this character is fucking amazing. Maybe my mind will change while I watch the third movie. But it is tragic seeing him lose his mom. I think it's because he became a Jedi at such an older age that he realizes how fucked up it is, that his emotions are all being suppressed and the Jedi are kind of weird about it. Maybe that's why they all complained that he was too old in the first movie. I don't do that much research on the Star Wars universe, but that's what I'm thinking is the reason. But yeah, then we meet Count Dooku during the Geonosis arc, with Obi-Wan being captured. And Count Dooku is Qui-Gon Jinn's master, which makes for a really good plot element, and I feel like they kind of ignored that a little bit. Or they gloss over that. They don't ignore it, they just gloss over it. Like, it isn't like a big thing until the spin-offs kind of fix that. R2-D2 and C-3PO. They are really the hearts of Star Wars. I gotta say, they are Star Wars. I think they've been in like every single Star Wars media possible. Like they are the absolute heart of Star Wars. There is no Star Wars without those two, even plot-wise. The whole battle of Geonosis, all the Jedi battling, the clones coming in, it was a delight to watch. Although yes, the CGI, a little video game cutscenes, but it looked cool. So fuck you. I do remember the Battle of Geonosis quite well. This battle sucked in the Lego game. And then we skip straight to the Count Dooku boss fight. Anakin finally gets his arm chopped off, and Obi-Wan just gets fucking berated. And then plot twist, Yoda ends up being Dooku's, Dooku, oh my god. And Yoda ended up being Dooku's master, which I hope they don't gloss over. Yoda just flipping around is iconic. The choreography in every fight so far has been just, you can tell they have trained to use lightsabers, and it's always a delight to watch them fight. I think the newer movies they don't have that, but I've always liked the prequel Star Wars fights. It's like a dance. But yeah, and then after all that ends, begun the Clone Wars has, with the Imperial March playing as the clones fight off, which doesn't make any sense. I feel like the clones are not the stormtroopers. I mean, kind of, they kind of are. Yeah, I actually find this movie a lot of fun. I used to absolutely hate this movie, but now it's like a nice 7 out of 10 after rewatching it. It's a really fun movie. While the Phantom Menace right now goes down to a 6. Because there are, alright, there are some really slow moments there. I'm so sorry, Phantom Menace enjoyers, but I like Attack the Clones more. Alright, next movie, or show, kind of, just next thing. Alright, I hate to admit that I did follow a list to watch the Clone Wars show, only because it was easier for me, and I didn't want to go through the entire, how many episodes Clone Wars has, because, well, time. So, what I showed my girlfriend first was Star Wars The Clone Wars movie. So I showed the first 25 minutes where Anakin gets his brand new Padawan, Ahsoka Tano. Yeah, Ahsoka Tano starts off as a pretty clumsy and annoying character, but I think it's a good thing. We get to actually watch his character grow, and it feels so much more rewarding. That's all I have to say about this movie, honestly. The rest kind of sucks. But the first battle was pretty cool, the first 25 minutes. We get introduced to Rex and Cody immediately, and the clones. Just the tone of the series in general. Alright, Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 1. So the first episode I showed was the Clone Cadets. I followed this list where it just showed like everything in chronological order because the show wasn't like that. I honestly love this as a starting episode to the series. It makes you care for the clones immediately, which is lovely for what's to come. And after that we watched Season 1, Episode 5, Rookies. Ripped to like half the Domino Squad already. There's like 2 left by the end of this episode. Anyways, it shows more Rex and Cody, my beloved. Rest in peace, Heavy, also. Which is like the only death in this season where it's just kind of like, it's like a little sad. Again, sets the tone for the rest of the show. I feel like if the clones were not even close to likable though, the show would just not work. D. Bradley Baker did such an amazing job voicing out the clones, giving them such individual personalities, which is ironic considering they're all clones. But yeah, the first arc with the clones, the Domino Squad, pretty good. It's too bad that we don't see them in the chronological order until like Season 3, until way later. And then we skip a bit, we get to the Season 1, Episode 2 to 4. Also, Plo Koon is great. Just that whole line, we're meant to be expendable. Not to me. Really made him like one of the greatest Jedi in the show, at least. Despite him appearing only like a few times. General Grievous, I don't know how I feel about how they do him in this show. He's kind of silly. While in the movie, he's actually intimidating and scary. And the other show as well, he's also a little scary. Like killing a bunch of Jedi. Here he could barely kill like a Padawan. Honestly, rewatching Season 1, there are a lot of callbacks to the movie. and it really makes the build up a lot more funnier. Like General Grievous jumping in front of Obi-Wan saying hello there. I don't know, it just adds a lot of spice to Revenge of the Sith. And then we skip to episode 10, which is I consider the end of this whole Grievous's first arc with Kit Fisto and his little Padawan turned to Jedi Knight. I really love this show for fleshing out mere background characters and giving them actual personalities rather than funny background alien. This also vaguely shows the backstory of Grievous, which is nice. And then Grievous straight up just murders a Jedi Knight and a bunch of clones. Obviously can't kill Kit Fisto. He's part of the third movie. But yeah, that arc is good. I like the Malevolence? Yeah, that arc. Pretty good start for the whole. It's kind of filler-ish, but it's a good start to the whole show. Because the next arc, season 1, episode 11 and 12, Dooku captured and the Gungan General. And the only reason I showed this episode was because it showed Hondo. Though this is the one episode where I must watch Jar Jar because of Hondo and his introduction. I love Obi-Wan and Anakin banter as always. So these episodes are fun, and the working with your enemies to be another enemy trope never fails to amuse me here. And I find it funny how the Jedi and Dooku struggle against this guy more than any other character, more than any other villain. Like Hondo's always 2 steps ahead of them, so that was really fun to watch. And then we go straight to season 1, episode 13-14, the Ayla Secura arc. The first time around I watched this show, I did not watch this arc, but it definitely makes things in the movie. That definitely makes things later on a lot more sad. Yeah, Ayla Secura, that's all I have to say. Wish we got more episodes with her though. These episodes definitely had a more tribal vibe, but it's filler, so I won't touch it anymore. And then we have season 1, episode 16, Hidden Enemy, Among Us. It's literally Among Us. Slick was fucking venting. Oh, well, one of the characters was literally venting. And then they're hiding between clones that all look alike. I don't know. Why was that the first thing I thought of? My brain is cooked. I'm getting off the internet for a few years, guys. Goodbye. And also, technically in this whole timeline, it shows Ventress, which is Nate. So this is technically the first time we meet her. And in this chronological order. And also, I skipped the other episodes with her, so I don't know. And then, finally, the final arc of season 1, episode 19-21, the Ryloth arc. I do love the first 2 episodes. The first one, Ahsoka gets her own full arc, and gets a shine here. She experiences the loss of her men, responsibility, the guilt of losing it. The episode after is the most wholesome shit ever. Waxer and Boyle take care of a child, and it's really sweet. And they don't die. Look at that. They do say, I will return, and then they don't. I do like Ahsoka actually, like, owning up to her responsibilities, because I think most of the season so far, she's kind of been like a smartass. But yeah, that's season 1. So season 1 has been really good, actually. I was pleasantly surprised since I remember it being more cringy, and I honestly did not expect to even talk about this season. I just expected to just gloss over it, which I am kind of doing. But also, I have skipped a bunch of episodes and followed a list, so I guess it makes the season more coerced and actually watchable. Even during this first season, there have been a lot of heartfelt moments. Heavy's death, the 2 clones with the child. So I give this one a solid 6, which is a good score, but I know it will get better. The second a certain character gets introduced, it's gonna, this show becomes one of the best Star Wars content I've ever seen in my life. I'm definitely gonna take my time to talk about the Clone Wars, because there are 7 seasons of this. Oh my god. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should make this video faster than it is. Anyways, season 2. Also, this isn't a review. This is a ramble. I'm just going along. This is my diary. Alright, season 2 of Clone Wars. Okay, so the first arc, we have season 1, episode 22. I know I said season 2, but I'm going to include this because it's part of the same arc, I think. So we have the Cad Bane introduction with the holocron. Oh, and this also goes from season 2, the first 3 episodes. Cad Bane is just awesome. Love that space cowboy with a zesty robot that he ends up putting a suicide bomb in it, and he dies without knowing. That was fucked up. Then we show more of Anakin and Padme, their relationship in the series, and it makes their love feel so much more real. So whatever's to come, who knows? Okay, this is like one big video. Why am I acting like this is several parts? But yeah, we know what's coming, so it just makes that feel just so much worse. And it's more romantic. It's more romantic in the show. And we get more Ahsoka character development. They tortured a Jedi to death, which damn. And like I said, these episodes also introduce the holocrons, which will become important in Rebels and a bunch of other stuff that I haven't seen. Oh yeah, heads up, I have not seen the Boba Fett series. I have not seen the season 3 of Mandalorian. I have not seen Ahsoka. I have not seen Andor. Yeah, I haven't seen Andor. And season 3 of Bad Batch. So those will be my first ones watching. Everything else I've seen. I don't think I've seen the Tales series either. So And then Cad Bane technically gets away with it in this arc, which makes him a bigger threat immediately. So I think that makes him more scary than the more terrifying, well, more of a threat than the other villains. Yeah, that's the first arc. In arc 2, we got season 2, episode 17. We skipped a lot. Bounty Hunters, with Hondo returning as like a villain, and plus this episode is very much a homage to Akira Kurosawa. And okay, that's all. It's just, I feel like they reuse his plot in Mandalorian, which is a homage to Akira Kurosawa. So, not that it's a bad thing. I like the style in the whole arc. It's cute. It's a cute episode. And then blah blah blah. We skip to season 2, episode 5 through 8. The second battle of Geonosis. This is where things get good. See Boyle and Waxer again. A little cameo from them for like an episode. My girlfriend thought that they were gonna die. Like, no faith in these clone troopers, you know? Honestly, why would anyone think they're all gonna die? Like, that's crazy. And Mundi has a sweet moment with Anakin in this, with Mundi joining in their little game and winning. Because I think Anakin and Ahsoka have a little Gimli and Legolas game where they just count their body count. And we also see Anakin getting a little more overprotective in this arc. I find it funny how, like, in the first, well, technically in the movie, the Clone Wars movie, Anakin meets Ahsoka. He's like, I hate this child. Get her away from me. And then now, where he truly like starts to really care and become really overprotective of her. And by this point in this video, I've currently watched season 3, and he really loves her. He really loves that girl. Like, not in a weird way, but like, he really loves her as like a little sister. So it's like, I don't know. It makes everything else later just seem more depressing. Oh yeah, and also in this arc, with a name like Pago the Lesser, I would also become a bad guy too, honestly, man. I do have a complaint though. I think the first half of this arc was great with the whole action, the actual battle, the second battle of Geonosis. And then the second half, which has an amazing concept with the whole zombie, it switches to horror halfway through the arc. Like, we officially see zombies in this arc, and they kind of just dropped the ball a little bit with the whole hive mind, and it was cool seeing the clones fight the Jedi for the first time. I mean, it was cool seeing the clones fight the Jedi. You know, it's like a new thing. It's cool. So that was a nice, unique perspective of that. Yeah, I didn't really fuck with the whole parasite hive mind thing as much. It was a cool concept, though. It really was. I just prefer it. I would have preferred if it was just the whole first battle and not this weird hive mind. Well, unless they did it better. I don't know. This arc is a nice like 6 out of 10. I don't really rate the arcs, but that's like the easiest way to explain it. It starts off as like an 8 and then it ends with a 6. And then we skip to season 2, episode 10, Deserter. Grievous! And this is where they introduce Jesse, at least in my watch through. And in this episode, we get a little more heartfelt, a little heartfelt moment with Rex questioning their own army. This clone gets a family, which, what is the timeline in this show? It's nice seeing like other types of clones though. Also, why are the French aliens just straight up sex appeal? We have Ayla, now we have this mom alien. Not that I'm complaining, I think it's cool. It's a wonderful thing. But this was a nice, cute, heartfelt episode. We don't get much of those in the first few seasons. Season 2, episode 12-14, the Mandalore plot. We have finally reached Mandalore. We also learn of Obi-Wan's past with the situationship with the Satine Duchess. I don't know her last name. But yeah, immediately in this arc, we get a guy who just kills himself. This is a kid's show. I love that Obi-Wan has his own Padme and Satine. Their dynamic is really fun. And we get the introduction to Darksaber, and we get Anakin being a little dark, a little emo. I don't know, I really did find Satine and Obi-Wan's little thing really fun to watch. It was spicy. It makes you more attached to Obi-Wan because you realize that he is a vulnerable person for the first time. He isn't just a stoic person that's like Anakin's master who follows all of the rules. It shows that he has like a lot of emotions, which is... As much as I love this arc, you could tell this is definitely a setup for the other arcs in the future. You know what arc. And then on to the final episode of Season 2. Well, the final arc of Season 2. Season 2, episode 20 to 22. The Boba Fett arc. I'm honestly surprised they have not introduced Boba Fett in the series much sooner, considering he is the literal son of Jango Fett. Well, quote-unquote son. It's a genetic clone that's supposed to be like a son. I don't know. Also, R2 literally carries an episode. I didn't... What? That was an alright episode. Then Mace and Anakin team up despite their future complications. And we get the whole underworld location unlocked. And Boba's theme was eerie. Was eerie as hell. I don't know how I feel about them humanizing Boba. Honestly. He's just annoying brat that I just don't see becoming the Boba Fett we all love and know. I mean, I like him as a character, the kid. I mean, it makes sense why he's so angry and out for vengeance, but... Okay, you know what? Okay, I'm setting off a rule. When I'm watching this in chronological order, it's my whole point is to watch them develop as characters, not be blinded by nostalgia and what they are known for. Yeah. Alright, so right now, Boba Fett, Vengeance, John Wick, Bounty Hunter, cool. We have no idea what he becomes later. There you go. But yeah, season 2, all in all, was great. I gotta say, I feel absolutely terrible for the battle droids. I mean, conceptually, they were given free will, but are designed to fight wars, but clearly don't want to. I mean, in every appearance of the droids, they're just really reluctant to fight. they're just so sad to watch. Anyway, this was a great season. It introduces a lot of elements and actually tries to flesh out some more characters, such as Obi-Wan and Anakin and Ahsoka. So I give it a nice 7 out of 10. But yeah, next season is where the fun begins, in my opinion. But season 3, episode 2, Arc Troopers, which is a continuation of the first arc that we started off with, and this is technically the true introduction of Ventress, because we see her briefly in the past episodes, but here I feel like is the perfect chance to actually show her off as a villain. But yeah, we don't really see much besides Domino Squad, which are amazing as always. I think it's Echoes and Fives here, which I love to death. Speaking of death, 99 dies. That was 99 dies. Next arc. Season 3, episodes 5 to 6, Mandalore Greed. I only watch these because my girlfriend's favorite character is Satine, so smile. Season 3, episode 10, Heroes on Both Sides. Ahsoka and Padme episode. Back to back, we get episodes for the girls. It is nice that they show the Separatist POV and humanize them a little bit in this episode. But the episode was alright, and Ahsoka gets a love interest type of thing. I think this arc continues later on. I'm not really sure what happens in it. And then next arc is where things get really good. Season 3, episode 12 to 14, the Night Sisters arc. First of all, we get Ventress lore, which is nice. The Ventress Dooku fight went so hard. And in the second episode of this arc, they went for a battle royale with the race of Maul, which I must say, this arc is the perfect introduction for what is to come with Maul. They start getting more comfortable with showing the brutality or rawness in this show, which is well needed in the Clone Wars. I'm not saying that every Star Wars property has to be super dark, but I'm just saying for like the in-between show of episode 2 and 3, you know, Revenge of the Sith, the fucking, the darkest Star Wars movie ever. I think this show was, it definitely needed to be darker in the second half at least. And darker it is getting. And the Delta Squad is in this arc. I've played the games before. I remember the one game. They don't talk though, but it was nice seeing them. Cameo. I will say that was the only like cameo ever where I was just like soy. I was just soy jacking. I was like, those guys, they're in the games. Just because I didn't expect it. And I find it kind of funny how like Obi and Annie are just cameos in this arc. They're barely in an episode. And Savage is an awesome character. I mean, he's more of like grunt. I mean, but yeah, the second episode we see Savage. Well, the first episode we see Savage. He's like an actual like caring brother, and then he slowly becomes this grunt. I forgot if he snaps out of it, but the whole grunt aspect of it kind of But this is an obvious arc to set up Darth Maul, which is the greatest thing to happen in the show. And then the arc after that is even better. Well, just as good. Actually, no, in my opinion, even better. Season 3, episode 15 to 17, the Mortis arc. And in a way, this is a very weird arc in the Star Wars mythos as a whole. But if you were watching this in chronological order, which we are, this kind of spoils quite a bit. We also get a brief moment with Qui-Gon Jinn. Well, 2 brief moments with Qui-Gon Jinn. One where he speaks to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and one where he talks to Anakin Skywalker. Which is honestly nice closure for Qui-Gon Jinn to talk to him from the dead. Which I'm not even sure if it was actually his like ghost. I'm sure it was just a vision, but it was nice seeing him as closure. And Anakin confirmed being the chosen one here as well is pretty important. And the atmosphere is so pretty in these episodes. Unfortunately, this kind of goes down when you realize how pointless this whole arc was. I mean, you know, nothing really changes after this. You can argue that for every single arc, but Anakin just gets his memories erased in a really cheap way, I feel like. he just sort of gets a tap on the head and just forgets everything that he saw. But his slight turn to the darkness was really fucking cool. I like the conceptual idea of the episode. It kind of feels pointless when everything gets like undone really just cheaply. But I do love this arc. Without the whole ending of the arc, this arc just stands on its own so well. So yeah, this is a 9 out of 10 arc for me, honestly. And the ending was really heartfelt. Just, it sets up so... if you're watching this in chronological order, this makes part 3 hurt. I mean, episode 3 hurt so bad. Because now you really see it coming. Like, well, at least it's like preparing you. Also, it's like 6 in the morning right now, and my rambling is starting to make less and less sense, but I want to watch season 4 before I get busy. And then on to the next arc, season 3, episode 18 to 20, the Citadel arc. Fives and Echo again! I love them so much. And we lost Echo. Alright, rest in peace, Echo. It's really sad seeing the Domino Squad die so fast. Most importantly, the battle droids dying are the most devastating things I've ever seen in my life. There are actual good battle droids in this one, and it was so sad to watch them die. In this arc, they introduced Tarkin, who becomes very important later on in the next saga. And Tarkin and Anakin immediately connect in ideology as well. It shows that they actually get along, which is why Tarkin was the only person Anakin just didn't bother fucking with. And the music in this arc also improved so much. Like when that Russian Jedi died, or whatever he was. This arc definitely is more of a tone setter as well, just like the other past arcs in the season. They're definitely setting the tones for seasons 4 through 7. And in the final arc, we ended with a more wholesome one. Season 3, episode 21 to 22, the Padawan Lost arc.
No! No!
You hear that?
To be fair though, he also... This is like probably one of the worst times for someone to be like becoming a Jedi, because all you know is fighting.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's all you've been fucking doing. That, like, you won't die on war, but it's just Yoda telling the kids, war there is, die you will.
It's certainly not a good career.
Don't put that image in my head.
I stand by my principles, no matter
He's
what.
a wholesome little green
Besides,
guy. Also, I'm just naming these arcs on my own. Or whatever the episode sounds cool to me, so it's easy for me to memorize. This arc really shows Anakin's love for Ahsoka, though. This is where I'm like, who does he care more for, Ahsoka or Padme? I don't know. But again, it's just, I think it's because we've seen them together a lot more. Obviously, it's their show, but I really don't know. And you see Chewbacca shown in this arc, and you can tell he's a main character because he's introduced with the OG trilogy soundtrack, or the Force theme rather. And then there's a really sweet moment with Anakin and Ahsoka at the end. It's a nice, short, sweet episode arc, and they end up killing off a Padawan child. You know, it's gotten to the point in Star Wars where, well, in this TV show at least, where I just kind of watch it, and I just forget to write anything about it because I'm just so locked in now. Yeah, season 3 is a major improvement from the last few seasons. I think the episodes were more consistently good in this season, at least, and it had more emotional moments with its main characters. It feels rather like a setup season for other seasons or arcs, which is fine, but it makes everything in the future feel so much more rewarding. So let's just get into the next season. Oh, and my favorite arc is the Mortis arc. I know I said I didn't like its ending, but if we ignore that, that is objectively the best arc of the season, and best arc of the show so far. Until season 4. I think I rate this season like a good 8. Yeah, 8 out of 10. Like, it's really good. When the good episodes hit, they really hit. Anyway, season 4. I'm excited. All right, here we go. This, for me, is where things go from great to really good. Like, really great. Sorry, I'm a little excited. But anyway, I'm skipping the first 6 episodes here because apparently they're bad. So we're going straight to season 4, episodes 7 through 10. The Darkness on Umbara arc. The cinematography changed drastically, let's just say that, and the quality as well. This arc fully focuses on the clones and brings them mostly together from previous arcs, like Jesse, I think Jesse. Also, from recording this right now, I kind of binged the entirety of Clone Wars. Got a little addicted, so I'm going off all these by memory, but I finished it in like a week or so. But yeah, Master Krell. They made it so easy to hate Krell. I mean, he is just straight up a despicable villain. He is horrible to the clones that we've come to love. So yeah, pretty easy to hate his ass. Every scene that he is in, he is simply infuriating, and we never got that with the villains so far. I found it nice how far Fies has come though. What? I found it nice how far Fies has developed through the whole show. Well, I mean, the past 3 times we have seen him at least. He is shown here as an actual leader, and he knows when to fight against an unjust power. More will be said about him later, if you know, you know. And then we don't even see Waxer until his unfortunate death in one of the episodes here. I think this is where they start shooting at each other, because this is where Krell pits the clones against each other to get easy death points. And we just get Waxer dying out of nowhere. Man, he even has the little drawing of the girl on his helmet. That is fucked up, Dave Filoni, if he even wrote this arc. We never got to see them together on screen. That's so fucked up. Anyways, this was the perfect arc. The emotions you feel for the clones is crazy, and weirdly intense. This is definitely one of the first intense Clone Wars episodes. Then season 4, episodes 11 through 13. Cadaval arc, the slave arc, basically. It has a nice nod to the beginning of Return of the Jedi, with R2 helping them in their infiltration plan. A scene where they fuck over Jabba the Hutt in Return of the Jedi. Father like son, you get it? It's like poetry. It rhymes. Obi-Wan and Rex go through some abusive slavery, while Anakin, once again, is flirting with women. In this case, a slave owner. I don't really have much to say about this arc, so I'm gonna save it. Season 4, Episode 14, A Friend in Need. The Death Watch arc continues, and we meet Bo-Katan. I will be honest with you, the first time I watched Clone Wars, I totally skipped this episode because I don't remember meeting Bo-Katan. She just spawned in the story. I mean, technically she still spawns in the story here, but it's more natural. At least you got to see her before. The robots asking for help is like the scene from Toy Story, very cute. I find it funny how the Death Watch just sort of appears in this random ass side story. Like, they're supposed to be integral to the Clone Wars show, and kind of like one of the main plots, and they just sort of appear between Ahsoka's situationship ordeal. I don't even know if we see the guy again, maybe in some other show, some random show later, but hey, this arc accomplishes to get Ahsoka's first kiss, I guess, which all of this is in one episode, by the way. Then we're gonna skip straight to season 4, episode 15 through 18, the Deception arc, which is, by the way, Brooke's favorite arc. Hey, Brooke. This arc starts off with the Jedi Council tricking Anakin and making him a little angry, a little upset. We're gonna see him, slowly distrust the Jedi Council a little. We also see the arcs come together by showing Boba Fett and Cad Bane together. We also have another battle royale, and God, I gotta say this again, Cad Bane is a really great villain. Now, he is just fun to watch. He's conniving, he's cool, he's badass, and he's a space cowboy. Can't go wrong with a space cowboy. He's on par with Boba Fett, but on being deadly. We also finally get Anakin to reveal that he is fully distrusting of the Jedi Council and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Then the fight between Dooku and Annie just feels iconic. It definitely is a nod to the Vader dinner scene from Empire Strikes Back. I'm starting to notice a lot more reusables from the original trilogy, which I guess most, if not all, the fucking Star Wars properties kind of just borrow scenes from that. So by the time we're gonna reach that point, I feel like we've already seen the whole original trilogy and kind of like callbacks. I don't know. I hope this doesn't like ruin it for me. But right now I'm enjoying it. It's still fresh, new. I'm not tired of Star Wars at all at the moment. But I'm afraid I'm going. Okay, off tangent. I'm so scared I'm just gonna be tired of Star Wars by the end of this journey. Like once I get to Return of the Jedi, at least that's what I'm hoping. I'm just gonna be done with it. I just don't want to. I don't know. I just don't want to be a hater. If I really don't like something, I'm just not gonna talk about it. Or I'm just gonna skip it entirely. I feel like for Star Wars content, there is enough just, this thing sucks. You like this thing? I hate you. It's like, okay, wow, it's really mean. But we'll get there eventually. I don't know, I just feel like at a certain point of Star Wars, there's just such discourse. Anyways, moving on to the actual show, I just feel like I had to address that. Actually, wait, hold on. I totally forgot Anakin was Vader for a second. So Anakin just saw that, and he does, if you think about it, he just straight up rips it off from Dooku. He's like, that's a really good strategy. You really caught me off guard there. I'm gonna do the same thing in 20 years. Season 4, episode 19 to 22, the Brothers arc. I kind of combined two arcs here, the Ventress one and the Darth Maul one. We get to see what Ventress is up to after a season, and the witches. Unfortunately, the witches are cut short by Grievous and the gang. Genocide. We see Boba Fett being a natural leader here, and the other bounty hunters we'll eventually see, aka cameos. Ventress meeting Boba is definitely an unexpected crossover, which is what it feels like. I do love the Ventress character development, and her just slowly straying away from the dark side. Darth Maul! Oh. Okay, the last 2 episodes this season is pure gold. And, the red logo changed for the first time. Darth Maul with spider legs is certainly a choice, but I'm glad that changes. And Sam Witwer did such a phenomenal job. I was on the edge of my seat during any Darth Maul moment. Like, he went from just no dialogue in the first, oh my god, he just went from no dialogue in the first movie to just every single one of his dialogue in the show just feels iconic. It's so good. One problem though, it did end on a cliffhanger. Season 4 was a 9 out of 10. I feel like using a guide for the show really helped my enjoyment. I am talking about how I am watching this franchise in my own order, which just happens to be the chronological one. This season had a lot of intense, raw moments, where you get to see the main perspectives of Ahsoka for an episode, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ventress, and then Savage Opress. This is the moment I also realized where this show kind of saved Star Wars' reputation. I mean, right down to the middle, most fans point to the show as being one of their top Star Wars properties. I mean, this show only gets better for me with the next season, which I assume was the first time the show ended for fans. So, in a way, the show just straight up has 3 endings back to back. On to Season 5. I have nothing but great things to say. Technically, Season 5 of Clone Wars was the longest season for us, because this is the one with the most episodes that we've watched, because we watched the full season. Anyways, we start out with Season 5, Episode 1, Revival. Maul meets Hondo. I love Hondo. And I love Maul. And I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. This has the components to be a really good episode. I believe Maul has really changed the direction of the show. I love the powerhouses that Savage and Maul are. They rarely lose a fight in the show, and that creates such tension. It builds them up as villains more. Although, yes, they did end up running away from like a bunch of pirates. That's perfectly fine. But it shows that they have some weaknesses, some vulnerabilities. Like Maul's hatred for Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of nerfs him. I don't know, it was a great start to the season. I love how action-packed it is. Then we skipped to season 5. Well, we didn't skip any episodes. I'm just so used to skipping. Then we head straight to season 5, episode 2 through 5. The Lux Baltari arc. Saw Gerrera gets introduced here. This is a very cute arc. A nice break from all the darker stuff. This arc is still a 6 out of 10 though. Hondo coming in and then fucking off was was hilarious. I literally have nothing to say about the whole Saw Gerrera arc, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, but it does set up some character moments in with Saw, at least. Then we head straight to season 5, episodes 6 through 9, the Gathering arc. These episodes are so cute, and David Tennant, I think, plays the robot. It was nice seeing the origins of all the Padawans finishing their tests, making their lightsabers. I thought that was a nice little touch. And this was like the only time we ever got to fully see that before a certain order comes around. Is this like the Hondo season or something? It's like season 1 all over again with good animation this time. Like, Hondo has been in 3 arcs in a row. What the fuck? I'm not complaining, but it's a lot of Hondo action. The whole first half of this season has just been Hondo. He's the real main villain of the show, obviously. But yeah, it's times like these where I'm truly reminded this is a kid's show. Like, just this whole arc in general. Especially with the whole circus part. But it does end with Ahsoka fighting Grievous. Never thought that would happen. Then season 5, episodes 10 through 13. Missing in Action. I mean, it's alright. This is an interesting conceptual arc with focusing on the droids. We even had a blue logo like we had red for Maul. That being said, these episodes were kind of boring, but cute. Very cute. It reminds me of something like Open Season or a DreamWorks story, but less interesting. Gregor is also introduced, and he's a fan favorite, right? They managed to make fans emotional over a character who appeared in 1 episode. That is impressive. That is impressive. This episode has the prettiest animation we have seen so far during the scene where the Republic ship explodes with all the bombs inside. Those two are the only things going for it, because the rest kind of just nothing happens. I don't like the robots are just robots. And the slug guy I don't think we see again. Episodes 14 through 16, The Lawless. This is where everything comes together. The Death Watch meets Maul and Savage. We get to see the most of the underworld. I hate to say it, I love to say it. This arc is peak. Maul is the scariest villain in the series, and then he just beheads Pre Vizsla as well. Like just for like the first 2 episodes of this arc, we just see Maul and Savage and the Mandalorian just kicking ass. Like we just see the bad guys doing bad guy stuff, which I don't remember seeing ever in Star Wars besides Vader. But I love seeing all the arcs come together and characters actually age during the Clone Wars. Like the Padawan, well, not the Padawan, what the fuck? The kid that Ahsoka saved that one time, or was working with to save the Satine, that one episode. This arc is also a reminder that this is like a really mature show. Like, Pre Vizsla gets his head chopped off, right? He gets beheaded after an honorable duel with him and Darth Maul. And then the episode after, Darth Maul murders Satine, Obi-Wan's love interest, well, situationship, well, Obi-Wan's situation in front of him. And he holds her the same way he held his former master. It's like poetry, it rhymes. They are torturing this poor guy in this show. I don't even think Obi-Wan gets another arc in this show. He had a lot of screen time in the past 5 seasons. This might be his final one. And we can't end the arc with that, you know. This would have been too little, obviously. You know, the Pre Vizsla fight, the Mandalore thing, Darth Maul taking over Mandalore, Obi-Wan going undercover as a Mandalorian, breaking the order, watching his loved one die. It's just, you know, we didn't have enough. So Darth Sidious comes in and murders Savage and stops Maul from doing his thing. And says a really iconic line, "There is no mercy." And also there's another iconic line this arc actually that reminds me.
Unfortunately for you, history will not see it that way.
And then, the final one, episodes 17 through 20, the Jedi Who Knew Too Much arc. I'm just taking one episode name and just rolling with it. This is where I got lazy. We end this season on a Jedi mystery. I like the way it is framed. It's like a detective episode. And then Ahsoka gets framed, and it changes everything. Like, the first episode was fine. Then the second Ahsoka gets framed, that's where things get really interesting, because you don't know what the fate... I don't think the fans knew what the fate, or well, what her fate was going to be. Then Ventress meeting Ahsoka. Like, Ahsoka's meeting all these just big league characters. That's how you know she's becoming an important character, or she will be an important character later. She's not a character that Dave Filoni just going to murder off, because that's, like, his baby. I mean, the arc was just so intense and enticing to watch. And Brooke absolutely despised it. I'm kidding. And it just shows how annoying the Empire is going to be with the Tarkin working together with Palpatine. Obviously, the whole arc is a plot point to get Ahsoka out of the show and out of the story. So Revenge of the Sith makes sense. But still, it was sad to see her just leave Anakin, leave the Jedi Order. And Anakin really needing her more than she needs him, I guess. I don't know. It was just depressing. What if this was the final season? Man. I'm just glad we have 2 more seasons of this. All in all, season 5 has more inconsistent episodes, but I love season 5 more nevertheless. The ending still leaves me just kind of speechless. It's just so sad. I mean, obviously she comes back. This was where Ahsoka's story with Anakin technically ended for the first time. Watching this all in chronological order is really gonna hurt like a bitch in terms of sadness and disappointment, probably. I mean, it is a really big story. Season 6. Gotta say, between recording each season, it's certainly been a time period because I've gotten more busy. You don't care. All right, season 6. Season 6 episodes 1 through 4. The conspiracy arc. Fives. Oh, fives. Oh no. In this one we have Tup crashing out and killing a Jedi, which you know what that means. It makes Order 66 feels less out of nowhere, with these episodes being a thing. Technically, it's only this one arc that touches on Order 66. Honestly, watching Fives grow throughout from our season 1 through season 6 is, I will say, devastating. This one clone who basically shapes the entire show, just... It makes sense that he would be the closest to get to Palpatine and Count Dooku and get them a little shivering in their boots. And then gets killed because, you know, what's gonna happen, really? The movie already happened. It hurts knowing he got so close. And his little robot friend and his friendship was sweet. But yeah, then Fives just gets murdered by Fox, I think? Commander Fox? I don't know. And then they never touch upon this ever again. Unless... Well, until the final few episodes. But that's like... Actually, no. It does, you know... It does open up another arc. So that's cool. Thank you, Fives. Basically, his death helped Ahsoka and Rex throughout the whole future. And then the next arc is the Clovis arc. I don't really have a name for it, but the Anakin jealous, the Anakin jealous arc. My one complaint of this show is that they just use the Darth Vader theme whenever Anakin barely gets upset. Like Anakin slightly gets upset and the starts playing, and it's kind of just, it makes the actual theme just less impactful. It's like, okay, do they really have to do that every time he's slightly annoyed? Or him in the one arc where he kills the guy with the bomb. Like that was like a reasonable thing to do during warfare, and he has a bomb to kill everyone. I don't know. Like there are some scenes where it's like, he is turning bad. Like him torturing one of the Federalists. And it would have made this arc a lot more impactful if they didn't just use it like a million times beforehand. I'm pretty sure there's a montage of just the Imperial March being used every time Anakin got angry. But yeah, besides that, I don't think a lot happens in this arc. I mean, Padme sees her ex, Anakin beats up said ex, and his marriage is being threatened by Padme. And then we have the really cool scene of Commander Thorne being, you know, sacrificing himself. I thought that was like one of the standouts of the series, and he was in one or two scenes. And then we're gonna skip a few episodes because Jar Jar Binks. Then we get to the final arc, the Destiny arc, you know, episodes 10 through 13, I believe. We finally get a Yoda arc, basically, in its chronological order. In said chronological order, everything's actually come together slowly at this point. For example, Sifo Dyas. He's being fully explored. That's we are exploring what really happened to him. There are some scenes in the Revenge of the Sith movie that just makes everything here so much more funnier. I am twice as powerful than I was last week. You mean like a few days ago? Well, technically, I don't know what the time period is here. Maybe season 7 takes place a year later. I'm not really sure. I see more of Qui-Gon Jinn and then the whole arc of just Yoda getting off the planet and leading to Obi-Wan training with Qui-Gon Jinn. Apparently doesn't happen until 10 years later. Again, no complaints. It's just a little strange. Yoda is the most calming presence character there is in the series. And I mean all of Star Wars. That might have to do with his theme song, where it's like just really sweet and soothing and mystical. I love that puppet or CGI thing. This arc is also really pretty. It's like one of the prettiest arcs you'll see in all of like Clone Wars. And whimsical. What this arc is just basically a bunch of callbacks and Easter eggs. I mean, we get more of a reason why he goes to Dagobah, I guess. We get a flash forward of Count Dooku's death. We get there is another Skywalker. And we get Darth Bane from the Old Republic. So since we're watching in chronological order, she has no idea what the fuck all these are implying. So I think it's really funny. But besides that, there isn't really much to this arc. I mean, it's a cool arc visually, but yeah. And I find it really just cute that, well, sad, also sad. Like Yoda knows R2-D2, right? They hung out in this arc. In the distant future, they just argue over a fucking stick. Season 6 of Clone Wars certainly feels like the writers trying to wrap up as many things as possible. I mean, this was an unfinished season. In retrospective, it's a lot better of an ending than the one season 5 had, with Ahsoka leaving. We also get the conclusion to Yoda's arc for the prequels and have it lead into the Empire saga. So with that, let's move into the final part of the saga. I will also stop trying to sound so pretentious. It's just really hard to do when I'm typing half of everything down. I'm also so unpretentious that I forgot to give season 5 and 6 a point. Alright, season 5 I give a solid 9, and for 6 I'll give an 8. There you go. So, starting off season 7, we have the Bad Batch arc. Final season! They do mention the deaths of Echo, Fives, and Heavy. This arc does feel like a prologue to another show, which... Echo being alive is a nice touch. Off topic. You can feel the Disney touch in this season with some of the humor. I don't know how to explain it. It's just, you can tell it was made by Disney. Is that weird? There's just a lot more Disney-isms to it. The tone and everything. Okay, I don't know. Okay, I'm just saying shit. They managed to make the Bad Batch pretty charismatic and showed they can pretty much carry a TV show on their own. So it did what it needed to. And Rex saying goodbye to Echo was a little emotional though at the end. Like this arc was just getting you back into Clone Wars, I guess, after like a long wait, right? Just feels kind of alright. It's good. It's a good arc. It just feels too much like it's trying to advertise another show. Wait, I'm just I liked it. I like the characters though. I like everything about it. It's visually stunning, and the Bad Batch you can tell are just kind of caricatures. The Bad Batch, you can tell, are just kind of like caricatures. They're trying to throw something at the wall. Like we have the tech guy, the smart tech guy. We have the guy who breaks things and is kind of dumb. The marksman, the hunter, literally, yeah. But I am excited to watch the Bad Batch. I haven't seen season 3. But the next arc, season 7, episodes 5 through 8. Gone with a Trace arc. I'm naming shit. We finally catch up with Ahsoka after like 4 arcs. That being said, this arc was kind of meh. I think they are building up the Pikes a lot more than I expected. Like, are we ever gonna see them again? I think we see them in Solo and the okay, you know what? Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why we see the Pikes so much. They're fine. I think their designs are cool. They just haven't been. There hasn't been like a character that stands out. There hasn't been like that character. Also, it makes so much sense that Darth Maul controls the underworld, especially with like that one arc with Darth Maul stealing people from the underworld and teaming up with them. Also, who the fuck is Crimson Dawn? And do we ever see them again? Do we ever get to see them? I actually forgot. Oh, and the Mandalorians are back, which means they're actually about to finish the whole arc. That whole arc, I mean, which leads us into season 7, episode 9. The animation change. What the fuck? The animation change is a little jarring. I don't know, I just feel like from episodes 8 through episode 9, I swear there's a massive change. It just feels like they're in separate worlds. I mean, it makes sense. It's like a several month jump, but still. Like the final arc just feels like its own movie. And all the interactions were so cute and sad, especially watching everything in chronological order. You can sense that everything is way too happy and sweet. So when everything hits so suddenly, it just feels so much more heartbreaking. And this episode ends just as the movie starts, or just as the movie is about to start. Which leads us into the third movie of the trilogy, Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. This is it. We have reached the Revenge of the Sith movie. The movie to end the saga. Kind of. It is the best intro out of all the prequels so far, with the whole battle over Coruscant. I don't remember. I don't remember what it's called. It has really cool music. The atmosphere is great, and this is where the fun begins. That scene. And then it cuts to a very anticlimactic Count Dooku battle, which immediately just ends the war. Which I guess they didn't know they were gonna make Count Dooku into like a bigger character. If you kind of just watch the movies, he is an important figure, but he's just a plot point. You kill him off, the war is technically over, and Palp is just using him. But General Grievous in live action is pretty freaking cool. And I guess, I know people complain about him in the TV show a lot, but he does just run away in this one. He kind of just does run away, like a coward. So I see why they would make him into an even more exaggerated coward in the show. Yeah, kind of ruins his character a little bit, but oh well. And Anakin and Grievous canonically meet here for the first time, which I find hilarious. So so in the show they did everything they could just to not have Grievous and Anakin meet for 7 seasons long. So they're like all the ridiculous ways. I'm pretty sure this is where Grievous and Obi-Wan meet for the first time as well, because the way Grievous treats him, like they've never met before, right? General Kenobi! It's just funny to like transition from the show to the movie. It just feels a little weird. But if you ignore some stuff, it does seem a little seamless. The romantic dialogue, the dialogue for romance is still a little odd. It's because you are so beautiful. Like what? What? And they went even more fancy with this movie with the PowerPoint transitions, which is cool. They had the star, I think, at one point. Like all the PowerPoint slides. Like the first half of this movie is technically an end to the Clone Wars, and the second half of this movie is just the transition to the Empire. Then we have General Grievous versus Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is a beautiful fight. It's not as impactful during the chronological order with General Grievous pulling at his fucking 4 hands, because you've seen it like a million times before in the show. But we finally have the iconic "Hello there." And right after this, they confront Palpatine, which, oh my god, wait, I just forgot to mention Cody's in here. Yeah, I completely forgot Cody was just in was in this movie. Cody, I love Cody. I hope we see more of him in the Bad Batch. I don't know if we do, or at least I don't remember. Because I don't think Cody died. Yeah, he doesn't die in this movie. So here's to hoping some more Cody content. Maybe a Cody TV show, guys. Since we're milking Star Wars anyway, I might as well just make a Cody Rex TV show, huh? Well, let's move on from the Bad Batch stuff. All right, let's come on, Cody, Rex. Let's give the fans what they want. Then we skip straight to Palpatine, and Mace Windu. And the whole like movie just takes a 180 with all the Jedi dying with Order 66, which has been built up from the TV show, which makes it have some nice build up, because I feel like with the movie it just happens. This thing just happens, and everyone kind of dies. With the TV show adding that one arc, it really does fix up some Order 66 stuff, and it just makes it more sad than just plain evil, which is I guess what they're going for. I mean, it is just evil, but it just makes it more tragic than anything, and humanizing all the clones and their relationships with the Jedi. Also, how did he come up with the name Darth Vader? What is it? Darth Father? What does that mean? Why Vader? He just randomly thought of a name? Like, did Palpatine get ready to name Vader? Was he prepared? Why Vader specifically? Like, did he have like a the list like baby names or something? Then we reach towards the end of the movie where we have Anakin versus Obi-Wan. I have no idea if I mentioned this, but I really love the idea. But I really love the facts that the fights are just like a dance. It makes Star Wars feel so mythical, something out of old legends. Nerd emoji. What? I like it a lot. All right, they put a lot of effort into the choreography, and I think that's cool. This is back when Jedi had like a lot of training, right? It makes sense that they just start dancing and prancing all around. I don't know, it's more medieval. I do like another aspect of the sequels was it's just like raw beating the shit out of each other. Like, they have no training. Oh, and the Yoda versus Palpatine fight was cool too. I just imagine everyone coming back to the Senate room and everything is just destroyed. You were my brother, Anakin! Yeah, this whole scene is dreadful to watch after all the Clone Wars. That's all I have to say. that was just despair. I'm pretty sure someone made like an animation of the Clone Wars. Well, the Clone Wars animation of Obi-Wan versus Anakin, like in a fan edit. And Padme lost the will to live, which actually can happen. What? Well, I wouldn't say the term losing the will to live was right, but I am positive this is an actual thing. So I will defend George Lucas on this. I'm pretty sure people can actually die well, it helps. Although it's Star Wars, I don't think it matters, and it's more of a fantasy anyway. I don't know why people make such a big deal out of it. If that's how she wants to die, that's how she's gonna die. You know, she just lost everything. I know the whole poetry and rhymes thing is a total meme now, but I do like when it's used in a way that's actually meaningful. The birth of Vader happening at the same time as the death of Padme was so good. The poetry can also be seen as two twins being born at the same time as Vader. And the Darth Vader transformation was always so satisfying to watch, even as a kid. I was like, oh shit, it's just like when they transformed. I don't know, it just felt nice seeing Vader become Vader. And the way his suit just came together. I liked it. And I do not remember the Death Star being made so early at the end there, I'm not gonna lie. Wasn't there a whole show about making like the Death Star? I don't, what the fuck? Why was the Death Star shown so early? Bro pre-thought everything. I mean, in Clone Wars, the Death Star was shown too, in like a little plan thing, right? Maybe it's just me, but I kind of don't like that. But yeah, that's Revenge of the Sith. That's the best one out of the three of them, which isn't saying much. But it is the best one in terms of like the atmosphere. I just kind of like darker stories as well, so it's kind of hitting a soft spot. It feels like a Greek tragedy almost. Yeah, I think I rate this movie a good 8. Yeah, a good 8.5. I don't like decimals. No, it's just a nice 8. A nice solid 8 in there. I do think there are like 3 more movies that are better than Revenge of the Sith. In the Star Wars saga, so I'll save the big numbers for them. All in all, it's a pretty good movie. Let's wrap this up with the final arc of Clone Wars.
The timeline between my last recording and right now is exponential. So we have the last bit of the Republic saga to talk about, so let's talk about it. Season 7, episodes 10 through 12, Victory and Death Arc. Maul being a conspiracy theorist and in the same boat as Fives was certainly a choice. I really liked it a lot. Just having him be like a conspiracy theorist was such an awesome twist and makes Maul so much more sympathetic. It's also a little ironic that the Sith is going through the same thing as a clone trooper, well, ex-Sith. And once again, he has the best dialogue in the entirety of Star Wars. Like, he goes from just, yeah, what should we do about the Jedi? To Shakespeare. The Ahsoka and Maul fight, it was just great. I think they used mocap for that. It definitely looks a lot different than the other fights. And the eerie music in these episodes, building up the tension to what's to come, was just In our watch order, we have just finished. In our watch order, we just finished. My God. In our watch order, we just finished Revenge of the Sith. So we are fully preparing for what's to come in the same day as the ending of Clone Wars. So that's. And then Rex's turn was really depressing. And hey, at least they didn't make Five's death for nothing. I mean, Rex came out of this alive. He is the reason why Ahsoka and Rex are fine. And then Orange sorry, I got really hungry in writing this. I don't what the yeah, what a sad last episode of a kid's show. The final arc is an actual work of art though, I will say. Like this is the only arc in the show where it's just a full-on 10 out of 10 for me. Besides, yeah, no, this arc is a full-on 10 out of 10 for me. Like it was perfect. There wasn't a single thing that I thought was wrong with the last 4 episodes. I mean, it was just really good television. So that's really all I have to say. So all in all, Season 7, Clone Wars Season 7 was not the masterpiece I wanted per se. Can't just say per se, god damn it. Starting off with a good arc, then a mediocre, slow arc, then ending with such a perfect one. It was more of a roller coaster of emotions than a perfect season, so I'm gonna rank this an 8. If it wasn't for like the first 2 arcs, I think I would have ranked this a 10, but as the season as a whole, it's an 8. That is the end of Clone Wars. Also, sorry if I sound sick, I was just sick. Damn. Tales of the Jedi. I completely forgot about this one. This is not really like a show, it's a mini-series. It's like a mini-special. So let's talk about it for a second. I didn't realize there were dogs in Star Wars. The Dooku episodes were amazing. Qui-Gon's death and Dooku's reaction was something I was really hoping to get out of the show, I guess. I was really hoping to get at least one emotional scene from Dooku. From Dooku. Until this point, I was never fully gripped by Dooku. Like, he was just kind of like a 2-dimensional character, or 1-dimensional character. He's just kind of like, I turned bad now. And then he became like a Looney Tunes villain because Clone Wars is a kid's show. Like, he was kind of silly to me, but I appreciate him a lot more now. And then we have Dooku versus Yaddle, and Yaddle's death. I'm glad they tied the Yaddle loose end. Everyone has been really asking for that Yaddle backstory. Sorry, I'm done being an ass. But I like that fight. That was heartfelt. It's just I don't really care that much for Yaddle. Maybe Ahsoka episode felt really like old DreamWorks or Disney. Well, it is Disney. And it was a nice touch having Anakin train Rex and the troops to fight Ahsoka for the future. Like this whole little mini series felt like a nice closure just to the Clone Wars. It definitely wasn't needed, but if you are a completionist, then it's a nice little addition to the collection. But you really don't have to watch this. It's a 7 out of 10 though.
So, the Star Wars The Republic saga is over. Probably the second most iconic part of Star Wars behind the original trilogy, which isn't saying all that much actually. I think this part alone has a proper beginning and ending with Anakin's transition to the dark side, and everything slowly setting up for the next era of Star Wars. So I am really excited to see how well, or not well, the new stuff fits into the new saga of Star Wars, aka where the original trilogy sits comfortably. Don't worry, I know how rough the fandom is here. So I really hope these videos never blow up or I'll end up like this. Yeah, but besides that, do I have anything profound to say this time? Nah, I was just curious to see how it was like myself to watch all of Star Wars in chronological order. At least currently, in 2025, which means this video is gonna be dated. I mean, not in 2025, yeah, current years. I gotta say, I had a fantastic time. I mean, you can't go wrong with early Star Wars. It's cheesy, but it's endearing. Maybe it'll be the last time I will rewatch all of these, given it is a lot of time. I can also say that every era of Star Wars is made up of entirely different fan bases within Star Wars, which is fun. I mean, sometimes they all hate each other and stuff, but still, it's pretty fun. It is nice that people can be fans of each era despite such drastic changes, but like, who cares? I mean, these are primarily made for kids. I mean, yeah, it's made for everyone, but they are still very much films for children. There are some projects that are definitely more mature as a series, or a series can grow up with its audience, which is more of an exception. My point is that this fan base may not be nice to each other, but it's also vast, and I like when they pull some weird new stuff. I will speak on that in a later video, probably, if I even remember. I probably won't fully rank anything until I finish the entirety of Star Wars, so see you guys in the Empire Saga. This isn't really much of an ending, but...
So I figured it out. Why hot dogs come in packages of 10 and hot dog buns come in packages of 8. See, the thing is that life doesn't always work out according to plan. So be happy with what you got, so you can always get a hot dog.